individualmente, pero nosotros también
Ừ.
vamos a ir a imponer nuestro
Chắc
juego y la verdad es que siempre el objetivo es ganar, da lo mismo el rival. Y eso, la verdad es que me lo estoy tomando con harta calma
chắc
y
lên
nada,
stream
estoy
mình đây.
jugando confiando
Chờ
en mi
xíu, chờ
juego,
xíu,
ya sé que las cosas van a ir
chờ
bien.
xíu.
Como reglamento de juego,
Tính lại.
con cuidado.
Này chắc stream mình đây.
My
Ờ,
expectations are to go against them and win
ok,
and
ok.
hopefully beat them by like a lot, and hopefully myself plays like very, very good and impresses everyone. Try to stay calm and stay confident. And I think we can catch them off guard if like we show them how confident we are.
Ừ.
I think they're going to be a little nervous to go against us.
Ok,
And if we stay confident, we should be able to beat them.
từ từ nha. Nó đang hơi loạn. Ok được.
4 out of 8 challengers teams across all Americas begin their journey today to make it to the very top.
Đây
Hello everybody and welcome to Ascension
xíu.
Americas. I'm your host for today, Dryad, and I'm joined on desk by Roy and Ash. And guys, just 2 days ago we got the chance to see the planes. We were on the
Tiếng
desk
to mà mình.
and we got
Tiếng
the
to
chance to
thì
see 2 of our teams make it to
tiếng
this
to
phase
chắc
of
nhẹ
Ascension.
đến
Unfortunately,
10%.
that meant that we had to sit
Tiếng
goodbye
mình
for
to
8
to.
minutes. But today the real deal starts, Roy.
Xíu được 4 rưỡi rồi. Coi ta em một string quali nữa. Đúng giờ coi stream mới có chat như vậy. Được. Với để trực chat như này động ta. Để còn đọc chat thì mọi người nữa. Ok. Lên chắc lên rồi. Hôm trước 1 giờ stream, giờ 3 giờ stream. Đem. Tưởng giờ Brazil là phải 1 giờ. Bây giờ không. Mình cá chơi hạt 3 giờ luôn. Nên là chắc tôi ít nói chuyện lại. Còn giải mọi người có coi. Căn bản tuy KPI cho bên Amencat. Tóm tắt main event cho mọi người là bắn thể tích suýt, thua 2 trận cúp, thắng 2 trận thì vào playoff. Giống như gì ta, giống như mọi người coi Master đầu năm ấy. Đây là trước của Bi Trang. Thì hôm nay sẽ có 2 cặp. Thì hôm nay sẽ có Nazet Robonan, Envy, Team Solid và Siden. Thì hôm nay sẽ là Latin với lại Bắc Mỹ, Brazil với lại Latin. Thì hôm nay stream 3 cặp. Còn ngày mai stream mỗi đúng STE với TSM. Căn bản còn không may off luôn. Căn bản là 7:30 Chủ nhật đi sớm. Ok, tạm thời là thế đi. Ok nhé. Thì đã qua vòng play-in thì sẽ có 2 đại diện từ vòng play-in lên. Bên event là Winrod với SK. Chờ game xíu. Chờ game xíu mọi người, chờ game xíu.
So we're going to focus a little bit more on the matches that we're going to have today. We have 9Z going against Envy, and then Team Solid going against Shinden. For Envy, if you guys have been watching Challengers, or if you have any sort of information of Challengers, you know that Envy is that favorite team in North America to win it all. They have been insane throughout the year, but on the other side, 9Z is you might not know the name of the team itself, but Ash, you definitely know the players.
There's no doubt that you know the players. Like, you got that core from Crew Esports in Klaus, Delzik, and Nags on this roster. And then on top of that, too, you've got Takolila. If you were watching Leviathan previously from 2021, 2023, you know his name. So it's incredibly stacked. Taco and Soother also returning from last year's Ascension when they were playing on Rita Esports. On top of that, these are names that everybody's going to know.
Ồ, chết mẹ, tôi tắt mic. Ây da, đây.
You spoiled a little bit of of those names that we're going to be seeing.
Tôi không biết.
This
Từ từ cái mic kìa.
is just incredible that we get to see them once again in the stage. A lot of them,
Output
they already got to
stream.
the top. They played at VCT Americas. They played international events. They made it third in champs, and now they find themselves here trying to make it once again, trying to feel that victory once again, but it's not going to be easy. So as we talk about 9Z,
Ok.
you
Alo, alo.
look at these players.
Ok.
Yeah.
Mọi người nghe rõ không chưa? Đây, tôi chỉnh lại mic.
Technically, Tech Legia was also part of crew for a little
Fuck
bit.
my
For an off-season
microphone.
the fact that we have such a stacked roster isn't very right.
Hôm nay là hai trận NZ Global với NV Solid với lại Solid với Sweden. Bắn thể thức suýt. Thua 2 là tách vali về nước. Năm sau chưa biết có cơ hội làm lại không. Mọi người có bị cắt màn hình ta được. Thế nó bị chênh quá. Đây. Ok, nó sẽ hơi bị quyết cái phần đen đen ở dưới một xíu nhưng chắc không sao đâu. Ok. Rồi cho một xíu. Tôi phải chỉnh mic thêm một nữa. One more time. Ok. Tôi phải để một cái mic nào đấy. Tôi phải để cái put to talk bên này.
It definitely is. He's a player that's always had so much impact supporting for his team, and the fact that
Có.
on this 9Z roster as well, he just gets to reprise the exact same role that he had when he was playing with Cruz.
Không có để mic.
It's just the fact that he's had this opportunity time to really refine
Không có.
as an initiator.
Không có chắc để xong. Còn tôi tắt mic Discord.
I'm so excited to see
Tắt mic không từ từ.
there's so much familiarity with him to play with as well, considering the rest of the roster.
Yeah, he was talking about it in social media.
Bây giờ mọi người cứ coi dạy. Tạm thời tôi chưa đến lúc. Ok, quay về màn hình này đi. Tôi sẽ để màn hình này ở đây. Mọi người cứ chat thoải mái. Giờ sẽ có Dozy MVP. Yeah.
Bro went to cook it up in an engineering job, and now he's cooking on the Omen one trick. You've got to respect it. And I think this guy's been not. You say
Dọn được vlog lại liền.
he's been such a
Đăng tối vào vlog.
for this roster. Like he is an Omen one trick. Crazy to say in this economy, to be honest, but he's also just absolutely insane. I think what we can expect from him, guys, is the fact that he has a really good macro mind. He's very good on the Omen. He's very good on the controllers. So when it comes down to the utility, when it comes down to smokes and kind of the timing, whether it's on the retakes, whether it's on the executes, or whether you need someone to sort of make a play for the roster, we're going to be looking towards Delzik for that.
And I think you look at this roster, and it's really hard to pick out a player where you're going to be like, okay, this is kind of like the ace up their sleeve. But for me, Delzik is that guy. It's the way that he goes for a lot of that map control, some of the risks that he looks to take on this controller role as well, that lends so well to the game plan here of 9Z. He's absolutely one of the players that we need to keep an eye out for.
He has always been one of those cool, calm, and collected players that you've seen in the different rosters that he's been part of. So I'm very excited to see him on that controller today. But we also got to hear a little bit from Klaus and his thoughts on Envy. Let's hear him.
Creo que va a ser un partido interesante también porque, o sea, creo que al nosotros ser un poco no tan medio caótico a la hora de jugar, no creo que tampoco seamos tan tipo caóticos, pero dentro de todo algunas veces tenemos nuestras formas de jugar media que nos adaptamos al medio juego. Y ellos también son medio así no son tan estratégicos, medio como que juegan el feeling del partido y creo que va a ser un buen partido y creo que el que mejor mira ese día y mejor tipo jugando, no sé si individualmente, pero como colectivamente, como equipo en sí, proponiendo y estando libre a la hora de jugar, creo que va a ser el que gane. Pero es un gameplay bastante parecido, así que va a estar divertido.
It is another player that we hear saying, you know, we have to play our own game, and whoever's, you know, shooting first, whoever's feeling better that day is going to get that win. Roy, how much do you think that affects going to a matchup like this one? Not only is it the opener for Ascension, but you also want to make sure that you're playing the way that you've been playing and you're comfortable on stage.
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice, to be honest. Like, there's been too much of a downtime for you to rely too much on like anti-stratting or anti-strategy. Like, I think the most they can do is kind of just study the style, kind of like understand the tempo that they play at. But guys, I do want to remind us that many teams have made the mistake of thinking that Envy is not a strategic team. Okay.
Từ từ. Hello Valorant moment nha, hello. Chắc tôi để gì ta? Tôi để một cái pool ở đây. Dự đoán 2 team thắng đi. Đoán 2 team thắng hôm nay.
I think to add on to Roy's point as well, where he's talking about that the importance of not just focusing on your own gameplay, but because of the
Người có 2 đáp án. NV NV với NZG đúng không? NV với TS. NV với Ascension. SFN. Cứ ghi đọc đi.
Because not only we have a 9C where we know all the players, but we also have an enemy team that we need to talk about. We've seen them throughout, you know, since last year when they were able to stage 3 and going into this year continuing to be a team that is just doing whatever they want and always getting away with it, Roy.
Yeah, they've had one of the most consistent performances we've seen from the beginning of the year all the way to the end. They went from underrated to rated, and now our bar is just set so high. And I think despite their age,
anh em để mình dự đoán đi. Tôi để đấy cho đến sáng mai luôn. Cho đến hết cho đến hết stream luôn. Xem dự đoán như nào.
Definitely will. And I think that the conversation as well around them just being so consistent throughout the year, I want to add the fact that they've also grown so much throughout the year. Like the attitude that this team went into stage 1 of Challengers with is completely different from stage 3. Do they still get sometimes
Cam Popping, Ion Inspire, Exter và Canedera. Này dự đoán NV hay NZG. Nếu mà xét theo phong độ nha thì NZG đang nhỉnh, với kể cả đội hình NZG cũng đa số toàn người kinh nghiệm. Đâu đó là gì ta, Crew với lại Leviathan, thì Gin nghĩ NZ sẽ nhỉnh hơn một xíu với lại NV, nhưng mà Gin nghĩ chắc 3 map cho NZG NV. Tại vì trung lập mà. Trung lập thôi. Yeah. Này mà stream có lag không? Sao stream lag đó?
Last time I compared them to like not compared them, but I contrasted them to M80, where I said M80 had like some of the best macro that we've ever seen.
Anh em ơi, stream có lag không? Stream có lag không?
The micro masters, like when you watch their micro, the way they play off each other, even in like high chaos moments, it almost feels like they never skip a beat. They're playing every scenario perfect. Like those thousands of hours that they have in ranked are actually paying off in a team environment. And I think that is where Envy's magic happens, and that's where a lot of teams go wrong against this team, because they are so good at controlling.
Lag. Có khi do bên tôi. Thật. Well.
It doesn't matter what meta it is, he is going to be on that Euro, and he has proven to do that the entire year. He is incredible, not only mechanically, but in the way that he utilizes this Euro to its full potential. It's really impressive, and I'm wondering, Ash, if 9C is going to be ready for it, because everybody says that they're ready for it until they go against Exter.
Yeah, I think that's the crazy part, is like the meta lent so well into his ability to be that Yoru specialist, but he truly is on a different league of his own on this agent due to the reps that he has on it. And we've talked about the evolution of this team as a whole in Envy, but Eggster's his role as the Yoru has also changed so much too. Previously, it felt like he was constantly this player who was looking to be that kind of Yoru support almost to Kainzera's duelist. But now he's shifted in stage 3 to be more of the spearhead of the team. We see him even picking up the operator, which was not something that was happening during the first 2 stages of VCL. He's grown so much.
Yeah, I think that for me, the opping, that's where he's probably grown the most. Like the way he uses the op on even on a macro level is perfect, right? Show here, TP, op here, like the way he's controlling the flow, the way he's kind of keeping teams guessing. I think it's a big part of Envy's defense.
Tôi tranh thủ 1 phút rưỡi nữa mới vào game. Tôi tranh thủ xem rồi YouTuber nào stream á. Tôi cầm điện thoại lên đá chat xíu.
And we were talking about the way that he plays, but we also want to hear what he had to say again about 9C and how that match is going to go down today. Let's take a look at this video.
Ngoài cái trực tiếp.
This is going to be the first tournament, so I'm just hoping that everyone on my team is like feeling it. We get like a good warm up in. I'm not too worried about 9Z.
1 phút nữa tôi xem bích 3 map gì. Bích xong 3 map gì xong. Xong rồi tắt mic cho mọi người ngồi coi. Rồi mình cũng bị qua. Không, 4 rưỡi, quên mất 4 rưỡi. 4 rưỡi mới Spring Quali.
Definitely is. And I think that for this squad as well, the way we've always described them is just marching to the beat of their own drum. Like, forget even their opponents. Like, if we even talk about the meta, what they were looking to play composition-wise, they did not care what was going on around the world. It was always whatever worked for them. And I think that's where this conversation in the head-to-head gets a little bit interesting as well, because Kainzera's role has evolved a little bit too. Like previously, mainly being on this kind of like off duelist, off meta duelist, and now he still does take that role, but then slotting into
số của Tacolina và Canela.
Against a Taco who he himself has also been leaning into some.
Một người từng bắn cho Leviathan và một người có thể gọi tân binh đi. Thì cái nước khác biệt hoàn toàn.
Playing this tournament as well, and then you look at a Takalija that has so much experience from 2021, 2022, going down and playing in challengers. So you see the contrast not only with the differences in age, but also mainly in the way that they play. Takalija has always been this very flexible player that when he was in VCT Americas was.
Hello Nobi, hello em. Vậy đó thì lấy cúp thì con két, có con két em, có con két mà xin lấy cúp. Trên xe sẽ không bao giờ có cái cúp Ascension đâu. Giờ đáng đê. Giờ đáng là trên này nè, giờ đáng trên này cho vui đi. Từ nãy giờ thấy ai cũng vote Envy với TS. Là sao? Tại sao mọi người không để cho nãy Z một cơ hội, xin đền một cơ hội? Nó đâu có bất ngờ. Vâng. Xin đi xin cham. Khó lắm xin cham. Xin cham 26 khó lắm em. Xin cham 26 khó lắm. Năm sau. Bây giờ mà chưa biết đội hình Sentinel năm sau ra sao, rồi đợi xin cham 26. Mơ tin đồn mà chưa có, mà thực chất ra chuẩn bị đưa cu vì đất lên rồi. Không. Bố tin quay lại, bố tin sẽ quay lại. Hôm bữa gì ta, Head of Esports Valorant gì ta, Leo Farina á, bảo tên là làm thế nào để tao lôi mày về thi đấu chuyên nghiệp, tên thì cần bảo đưa cho bố mày cái màn 300 hiệp nghĩ
But
suy nghĩ công vách.
I think going a little
Chuẩn
bit
bị đấy,
fights, but now
chuẩn
it's
bị đấy, chuẩn bị đấy, chuẩn bị tên dệt quay lại đấy. Bây giờ có cái màn hình Zoe Zoe bên Wii 360 Hz là cái quay lại liền à. À. Thật, thật, lên trên nick leo pha search leo Farina là có em.
predict, I imagine at least some of the good maps are going to get banned out, but I think we're
Thì
going to
đấy.
get to some maps where like both teams are pretty strong. I don't think
Nó tôi tưởng lương về.
so. I think it's safe to say that we will see
Biết bao nhiêu lương mới về đây trời.
there it is, the Lotus as the first map pick. I think this one is kind of
Đói quá mọi người.
nice track record on this map.
Ok, hình như là giờ
To be honest, a lot of teams have
đi tìm kỳ tụ lười. Ở đâu năm sau mấy cái thằng người ta mấy thằng Pacific nó
can't deal with the mid round, you know, fight, can't deal with a lot of the duels.
đá lên đầu xin sao, bình tĩnh em.
Especially when you start on that defense side of Lotus.
Ok, ra sân. Hôm nay sẽ có sự hiện diện của hai team NiZ và Envy, đại diện đến từ khu vực Latin, Nam Mỹ, Nam Mỹ, và một đại diện đến từ khu vực Bắc Mỹ. Envy đi tới giải này với tư cách seed 2 em mọi người, seed 1 là TSM, còn như là NiZ là seed 1. Nghĩ bạn kìa. May Envy NV NiZ G. Nhưng mà nhìn lại đội hình của NiZ G nha, nào là có cụ Leviathan, cụ Crew, mà nhìn bên đội hình Envy toàn tân binh, chắc chỉ có Inspire trước là Baby Blue gì đó, trước bắn cho Fitch ra với 100T, đợt bắn 100T xong một có đúng như là một game gì đó, xong cái bị kích, không hiểu thật sự như nào. Ok, 3 map Lotus, Envy bắn bên attack trước. Ok, Envy Pixel Set rồi, Envy Pixel Set, nó cuối là Ascension. Ok, mấy map cơ bản thôi. Mày chưa dùng patch mới, cái patch mà đang sử dụng Veto với lại Split với Abyss, đúng không ta? Không, cái Veto mới từ từ để coi lại. Veto mới là Ascension, Split vào của map gì nữa không ta? Đúng không? Nhìn luôn mất rồi. Quên, tôi làm gì một chat, tắt. Ok, vào tiếp mọi người. Có ai chat thì Gin bật mic, còn không thì thôi, Gin tắt mic. Mọi người cứ coi như những người bình thường được. Không, nếu mà tiếng nhỏ hay là lắc thì cứ chat cho Gin biết nha, để Gin mình.
I mean, okay, I just want to remind us that 9Z is the winners of LATAM. Like, these guys are insane, by the way. And Envy has looked like the most dominant team throughout the entire event. Yeah, they didn't have the strongest finish towards the end, but dude, they've been
Ok, layout sẽ gồm có bên NiZ nè. Cũng default, cũng gì khác, cũng default. Thì nếu mà chơi hai smoke, phía bên thủ Envy thì cứ Canizera, nhất Canizera con Zulu là xong. Ok, Thôi tắt mic. Tạm thời invite với mọi người đủ xíu, mọi người cứ coi khi nào có chat thì game chat hay game bật mic nói mọi người, chứ giờ người nhà đang ngủ cái bên ngại bật mic lắm.
I think what I'm interested to see is also going to be on the side of 9Z. Nagzit on the Vice is a great change to see coming in. Previously, I think he was leaning onto like that KJ during some time, so it'll be fun to see those interactions between him and Inspire.
I'm so excited for this opening of Ascension. Is 9C going against MV on our first map of Lotus, is also the veterans against their rookies. Let's see who gets this map win with your casters, is Shift and Vamp.
Really good opening matchup here. Yeah, very excited to get into this one. I think the desk hits on it right there at the end very nicely. 9Z, not to be underestimated, even though they are playing up against the organizationally heavy favorite in terms of watching through challengers this year. Envy has been kind of the spotlighted team out of North America, but that doesn't guarantee anything. And we've seen that actually be the case for Envy, not just across the season, but also very recently in Stage 3.
It is definitely going to be a huge match for Envy fans across the world because this is a big test for them. The first time that I sit on the stage where they have to play against such a storied team in terms of the experience that a lot of the players from 9Z brings from Tier 1 back into Challengers. But Envy, we can't really toss them aside. They did win a LAN themselves when they qualified to the Red Bull home grounds in Dallas, Texas during DreamHack. So they do have some sort of stage experience, but against Tier 1 teams or different playstyles from different regions, it's not there yet. So Envy has to come in prepared. Exer talked about starting slow. It can't be that slow. They have to come out hot, which is why now King Zira switches into this raise and they go for this battle in front of that B site.
Well, opening shot good for Suthers. He's able to find Kane on the opening peek through pillars. A little bit of aggression being shown early for 9Z. Opposite side of the map, though, Envy making moves over towards A, including clearing out tree early. So, opportunity to get on towards site and really keep your eye on what Inspire might be able to do on the cutoff through stairs.
That's a huge insert, too. But they're already feeling it from 9Z. They had to play soft across the site, which is something that they like to do from the side of 9Z as well. They like to play these flood retakes. So, Envy, if they stay on site, they still have good users to fight with. They have a seize to delay, and then their guns to work with.
Well, paint shells will come through. Spike will be planted. And now it's just down to how do you crack the code of this post plant. And it might just be by way of Inspired. He gets overwhelmed, not able to find the first shot. So now the defense has some level of entry back into the site. You block off the long rotation through the front side at A. Everything else now comes into the site itself. Right clicks are landing. Nag able to find one up top, but Ion and the rest of the crew locking things down on the low ground. Last one left alive is Suther. And, you kind of got the intention of how that finished before we got there. Envy takes the pistol.
It looked like he even looked away before he even died in the server. So, if anything, though, it's a nice little reply back for Envy. Playing on site, we just talked about it, forward positions. You like to play foot retakes for the side of 9Z. Then you like to go toe-to-toe because they talked about a chaotic matchup at the desk, on the desk, just prefacing this series. So the fact that the Paranoia didn't really hit too much on the foot retake on the side here of 9Z, but it was beautifully countered by that seize of Poppin. Look at how many players get decayed, 2 of them, easy kills right after that.
Yeah.
And now Envy scores first in this series.
Counter utility's pretty darn good. Now we've got extra weaponry on the table for Envy, and Egg will find the first shot. And I will say, and I don't think this is really maybe hit as harshly maybe as I would have figured the desk would have, but there are some times where Envy feels like you live by the egg, you die by the egg. And so far, already finding an opening shot's good news for Envy fans.
Yeah, and it already changes the playstyle a bit from Envy's side too. You're looking at the amount of utility you want to throw in as a team, but they're activating good lurks now from Inspire from that pick. But as you're going for entries, look at how the spacing goes in for Envy's side as well. So another reason why you're going in potentially with this raise. Now you have 3 agents on the side of Envy that could satchel, that could TP, and just get through sites right now to just flood into these trades. So beautifully done, and 9Z will have to expect this going on into the later rounds. Although economical damage is the name of the game for the remaining players of 9Z, and they've done quite a decent job so far. If they could drop Inspire here and also force at least some armor buys off some players, they should be in a pretty good spot for the bonus round of Envy to play against the bonus round of Envy.
Yeah, see what happens though. It looks like this is going to be one of those sacrificial moments to finish off round number 2. Inspire pretty far back, should be safe to make sure he keeps his life and, more importantly, keeps the weapon. So 4 will survive, and you're right. I think there is, you know, some consideration regarding the ISO versus the Raze, as we've seen Envy before. It definitely feels that the ISO brings the more survivable entry just by being able to pop the shell. More importantly, I think it's you can hit the undercut, make players vulnerable, so you have to back off defensively. Whereas this is, of course, the more categorical side of what we see on Lotus, which is burst, blast pack, flash, get in, get on quick, get the plant down as fast as possible.
You have to think about the preparation, too, against 9Z. They're also like to death ball a lot on pistol rounds, like to play 1-3-1s and then go for 4-0, 5-0 slams. So that seasoning could be very, very potent. Maybe the reason why you're going into this slight agent change on the side of Envy, so you could add a little bit more. But we'll cross that bridge once we get there, once Envy plays the defense. They're still in control here of the attack. Once again, doubling up to take control of the front B side. A 2v2 on that spot, but Poppin has that spike, so it's a dangerous fight to take.
Yeah, and this is just a feel-out tactic. You saw that they were able to throw the boombot in, plus also committing a prowler. So it keeps the defense a little bit more interested, while Inspire was creating some noise at A. So a bit of early confusion has 9Z really kind of stacking their resources in a bit more of a split decision. 2-2-1, and the Vice will now all of a sudden find themselves in a heap of trouble. Has the utility to try to survive a little longer, and actually Nags is going to go a little bit deeper onto the site to try to contest, knowing the Viper's nearby. So this is just about, can you hit your opening shots? And so far, Klaus and Nags are able to find a 2-for-1 exchange.
Although there is still a lot of space to work with, so an opportunity to move in, a 1v1 here that Klaus will decide better to fall back here, wait for his teammates so they can play players on that retake.
Good deep paint shells, lots of damage coming through. Puts Kanzera down to critical health, taken care of quickly. Haunt denied. Post plant still staying on top of the site. There's your breakdown with the poison cloud and the dark cover to block off the front. Paranoia coming through. Inspire finds the first, but Exeter cannot get away. And now it's just on to if Inspire can hit more shots in outside of the first one tap. Not much else to follow. A pretty punishing bonus, though, all things told, Vance.
Agreed. This is a pretty decent bonus round for NV side. You saw what they brought in. Couple of marshals, couple of outlaws, and then just keeping the bulldog in the hands of Egster. So you're trying to leverage him as the entry, and the other ones are trying to go for long-range picks. That said, though, I saw that Kane kind of backed down and backed onto nades being thrown on a defensive flood. So a little bit of shakiness going on and onto the stage, because that's unlike King Zera. Usually you see him pushing forward, you see him go for the fights, disrespect the utility. And now it seems as though he gave a little bit too much here and too much space for the side of 9Z to retake on that 3 versus 2 in the end. But talk about that rifle round. The bonus pretty good on NV side. Now they're playing rifles against now the Odin of Soother holding towards that tree. So Odin now prominently used since champs. You're starting to see here the value that Soother's trying to do with this Odin buy into tree control.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a mimic, because they're actually able to get that afforded in round 3. But Soother, and this is what everyone's been talking about, it feels like the Odin is just turned into a beefier Phantom. He's able to find one, but still a 4v3 nonetheless. Better trades for Envy. Paint shells causing a bit of deterrence to the post plant setup over towards drop, and Taco's able to find a shot through the smoke to land on a Kanzera. So now we've got even numbers 3v3.
Still only satchels and a flash, though. At least a vulnerable could be nice, but it missed. It just tries to clear out towards heaven, so they don't have too much to flood retake with.
Little extra peek from Egster. Doesn't find what he was looking for, so Heatgate crashes back. Time becoming a bit of an issue here for 9Z. Definitely some urgency has to come through. Poppin finds beautiful timing, earns himself the Nightfall, and immediately pops it. Taco will be hit by that. The tethers will reveal both, actually, as Klaus is traded, and everyone knows that Taco's playing on the low ground somewhere, so just use the clock as your biggest ally, and the first full purchase for Envy comes through successfully.
And becomes very clean. You're seeing also from the side of Envy, they... I mean, just the meta in itself, you're looking at this recent... we're not playing with the latest patch, we're still playing on 11.07, which then you're thinking about what happened towards champs here, and a lot of analysts and coaches are talking about where, you know, it seems as though there's a lot of like these 5040 slams on sites. But the thing here that Envy are doing quite well is continuing with the inserts and also a little bit of default at the very beginning to keep some players onto like anchored spots on that B side. They haven't shown too much over C yet, so there are still some gaps that you could try to take here for 9Z on the defense, and they're trying that right now. 3 players found on that side as they're on an eco, but now they're greeted finally by a change of pace from Envy, Wing into the C site.
Yeah, and why not? You've got lesser arsenal in front of you, but Klaus does well to catch one and stays alive for a little bit more damage, and actually turns that into a second elimination. That makes this plausible in terms of how Thrifty works, but Inspire is quick on the pinch. Nags currently watching for it. The dark cover will be, or pardon me, the dark cover. From the shadows will be used to get over to A quickly, but this is weapon collection time for 9Z.
Thing is Inspire on the insert, so he hears a rotate from Soother. He's going to hear the second one from Nags very soon. He's already pinging it towards that spawn, so everybody's going to play individual places for Envy. Try to go for that big play. Hopefully here, the Ion, worst comes to worst, only has to play a 1v1.
Yeah, Inspire just needs to get the information. Soother looking, shoulder seen, opening opportunity comes through, and Inspire has an opportunity to take down both, and little pop-off saying, what are you shooting at? Envy, take away, but still, again, you talk about 9Z, they're battling, and most importantly, they do that right there on an eco.
And I thought they were going to identify that already when Inspire had that insert during that pistol going into that B side. The thing is right now is you're seeing what we're just talking about at the desk too. The experience the whole team brings over from 9Z. Yet it's Soother that goes into the staircase and peeks back out knowing that there's going to be a late lurk and Inspire is going to peek out. And the one that actually gets caught is experienced Nags with the knife out trying to meet up with his teammate. So a little bit of a fumble there that allows enemy to really run away now with this first half of attack.
Well, interesting setup here. Yeah, you're going to get a quick burst out of Taco with the boom coming in towards A. Trades over at B, though, has Envy looking to try to get a spike down, but the Nightfall may delay this a touch. Nags just outside the dark cover, waiting for maybe just a little bit of extra help. And now that it's here, he's going to make his move, but Ion and Exter have done all right. Gives Poppin and Ion now a 2-on-1 versus Nags, who's seen on the jump up. Oh, looked like 9Z had read that just about perfectly. The Showstopper blocks off the play to A, the Nightfall to guard on towards B, but the shots just don't land.
This is such an interesting look that we're currently seeing from Envy's side. When you're looking at how some teams sometimes play on site on the attack, and there's chaos that happens, once all that trade finishes, you're stopping for a bit. You're trying to see if anybody else is going to peek from an angle. But what's different here from Envy is like, hey, we have the spike. We know where the open gaps are. Let's just bring that spike already to a different spot. You play the solo, and then you cut the rotates. And you could trust so much into your teammates and Envy to be able to do that. Especially to what Roy was saying. When they were playing as the rankers, before they got picked up by Envy, it was just so many cool individual hero plays that was coming out with Envy that was breaking the ankles of every single one of the challengers teams that were playing against in North America for at least 2 splits until they actually got picked up by Envy and then finally lost in the playoffs because you get the signed organizational curse going into the playoffs. But now, you know, as you listen to the interview, was what was said before by Takalia, yeah, we're not really afraid of how they play, but they're soon realizing that inside the server going toe-to-toe, it is kind of breaking their ankles themselves here on their defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, how would you evaluate, though? Because, like, first looks, I wouldn't say that 9Z is getting outgunned and just flat out losing this half by way of individual skill gap. This feels more like foundationally, and from a game plan standpoint, they aren't prepared for this Envy team to be playing with this much burst, and they just don't feel like they have an idea or handle on what they want to use to either pause or not use, and either to be able to kind of over-invest into trying to find retakes. It just feels like they're kind of caught between, you know, a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, we'll have to see into the next rifle round that they'll bring here.
Hello Kỳ Diên, hello em. Chuyên giờ luôn. Thì giờ giải như vậy mà em. Giờ giải như vậy mà. Giờ giải như vậy mà em 3 giờ. Trận này 3 giờ, trận 2 6 giờ. Dạ. Theo lịch là thế. Còn sớm hơn hay không thì tùy cặp 1. Nào, boss đi em. Boss xem team nào thắng. Nhất anh còn đây một nút, ngồi đây một nút xíu được còn coi người ta, xíu được còn coi F1. Đừng quên like và share cho mọi người. Ồ, tôi cũng mời lắm ai về, tôi cũng mừng. 6-1 à? Ui, ao trình vậy, mấy anh em bị rồi kéo lộn với mít ra. Mấy anh em bị ao trình vãi. Nhớ vote nha mọi người, nhớ vote và đừng quên like share cho Gin, like share subscribe cho Gin nha. Cống hiến 3 giờ sáng ngồi bật phim cho mọi người coi. Tôi biết là giờ này cái tài chắc nên là cái tài chắc lắm rồi, lâu lâu bật bít chứ giữ giọng như là
And you're going to get dimensional drift for Exter early. And honestly, that vine doesn't really stop the
Với 6 giờ sáng, 3 giờ sáng.
defense is going to be set up.
Hồi mai ít nhất là tụi stream một trận. Có thể stream một trận không. Tại vì sáng chủ nhật còn phải đi qua Gò Vấp mọi người. Tôi đi công việc. Phải đi sớm. Well, để xem thế nào. Đừng quên hôm nay đi bắn giải bên Mara nha mọi người. Hôm nay bắn sớm. Hôm nay chắc 6 giờ 6 rưỡi bên camera nha. Không, ra đây không bị tới. Vai lồng gãy. Làm sao? Làm sao? Inspire không? Inspire. Cho lắc một vết 3 hay nè. Áo NV phải che cờ lại. Búng ba. Inspire bắn 4-3. Không cần phải lát. Hút pin vô luôn mà. Out thật. Mình tưởng bấm một vùng căng xíu nhưng mà bây giờ 8-1 rồi. Không, từ độ khoan 4-1 nhưng mà Ion đang đẩy được. E nha. Hay. Đứng nép vô. Không được. Vẫn là Inspire clutch. Vẫn phải clutch. Giờ không biết đâu. Một người kêu là ai rồi xong 27. Ok. Pha gì ta? Pha Ion bắn hơi lỗi skill. Với lại ai bên NV lên Heaven thôi ạ. Và đây cũng không nhất thiết, hơi tham. Ok.
Now we're going back into the rifle rounds. What we're going to try to do here. Look at how passive they're playing. They're playing full retake on the A site with util and looking to just crunch and fight for a C control.
Love this. Get a little aggressive if you're 9Z. Commit to it though. Showstopper comes through. Now you got the fight over towards pillars, but Klaus cannot handle it. Nags gets one on the trade, but is weak. Good damage to Poppin, so the trades continue to go pinstripe in the kill feed until Suther turns the tides, and it's 9Z in a 3v2 early.
Yeah, but the thing is, they drop Spike, and look at how things are going to be played. Extra is going to pick this up right away, then TP onto the A site to go for a plant. The only difference right now, though, is there's no insert from Inspired, so they are going to be very separated in this post plant, and it'll have to come down to these hero plays again.
Well, the defense will take their time on the rotation. Post plant doesn't have much in terms of tools to hold anything off, outside of really just the intel gathering from this spy camp. So if you're looking at this from Envy's perspective, you're hoping you catch some intel, and really the longer this takes and the less information you see, the more you actually know this is probably going to be a hit over towards ropes.
This is the issue for 9Z. They're afraid of these inserts and these lurks, so they're walking the whole time. So much precious time lost.
Shoulder seen on Delzik. Exter trying to cause an issue. Page shells to push him back. Inspire hits the tree toggle, and how has Exter just gotten away with that? No help, no follow-up. Shot through the side, working, but it does not matter. Exter was down to critical health, and he's still able to find the final two.
Inspires at the same time. Hold on, my door is opening. I'm going to be there very soon as I can. And Exter is just like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I got it. That's crazy how many types of kills they're getting through smokes too when you have somebody getting on the side of 9Z and all ready to put themselves at a loss. But you see how they were so pressured and rushed to fight into that tree because they had to triple walk all the way back clearing B side back towards tree, then finally realizing, okay, well, nobody's inserted. We're going to have to make a lot of noise now, and that noise allows Exter to isolate isolate all those fights. And again, another momentum breaker as you just won a 2v1 on the side of 9Z the previous round.
Yeah, and that one feels, and really not just that one, but the 1v3 earlier from Inspire, and that's the rounds that kind of almost make me eat my shoe, where it's like, okay, maybe there is a little bit of a skill gap at times, because we just got to trade those.
And your shoe hurts because you wear spike shoes when you play golf.
That's true. Opening shot from Kane lands nicely over the top of Mound as we're dealing with a staggered buy situation here from 9Z. A couple of the hero rifles on the table, and I guess why not? If the pistols are landing, maybe you can turn that into more immediate rifle work, as Klaus will find at least our initial trade for 9Z. Pistol, backside sight for Delzik, not gonna land, and that'll open the door for a plant.
And that's the difference here. The players that are playing solo across the map for 9Z are not winning these 1v2s, these 1v3s, are able to do these hero plays. You're seeing the difference right now, that the firepower between both Envy and 9Z. And again, I want to highlight it again. It's the experience from Nagzet, Klaus, Delzik, having experience on the Tier 1 stage, international stage at that, when they were playing with crew back in 2021. And if you think about that crew, it's a crew that went pretty deep here at Champs, that lost that 18-16 banger on Bind against Chronicles Ace at some point, and that was a highlight reel. And then you would think that that experience helps here against different types of playstyles, including Envy's in this matchup. But Envy's rank play is just good enough to play against the top of the world.
That is one way of looking at it. Well, 2 rifles will be saved. Should be enough to manage a pretty solid purchase here for 9Z to try to exit this first half. But for their map selection, Vance, I mean, again, you looked at like the first 6 rounds and you're like, all right, we got ourselves a pretty even battle. You know, a couple of foundational differences where it does look like Envy's burst going into the Raze instead of the ISO was working out nicely. Kind of caught 9Z in a little bit of no man's land of like, are we committing to playing a little bit further forward? Are we saving to play for more of a committal off of retake? It did look like they were a bit split on decision, but over the last 4 or 5 rounds, this has turned into an Envy stomp fest. And with full purchase coming through, it looks like 9Z is going to try to go a little bit more aggressive, but a dimensional drift will scout this out.
That's how you stop it. Now you just have to fight TDM style. Who wins it? Of course, it's the rankers.
Yep. Although, Suther, almost able to manage himself behind and through the toxic screen. Not going to fully work out. And we've got ourselves a 3v2. Nags is close to a Nightfall, though. Could help out. Or pardon me, a Steel Garden, which could help out. But at the moment, you still need to find an elimination first before we can really consider it.
Oh, we get a plant too for the Showstopper, so they are making sure here that they're guaranteeing the round as much as they can for Envy side. Showstopper immediately comes out though.
Doesn't connect. Klaus still stays on 50 HP. 9Z trying to split the difference of how they want to try to get back in, and Nags is going to find the opener. That's enough now for the Steel Garden. Can they get out of the vicinity of it? Sure seems that way. That's a lot of space granted and voluntarily given away to the defense trying to make their way back onto site, but it doesn't make a difference. The individual gun skill too strong. Envy way ahead in a 10-2 half.
2 individual 1v1s, one on top of that, and even the radius of that Steel Garden was not enough here to really push Envy as far back as we can. But you have to think about it again from Envy's side. They're no slouch on this map of Lotus. They've been very good in the North American challenger scene, where a lot of OT games, close matchups. On this matchup was against Cubert Academy, one of the other favorites to should have made it at least into winning the finals regionally, if not second place against this very team of Envy. Of course, because they can't even play Ascension. But the Envy was able to take the top and take their number every single time, and even beat Winthrop, who's currently playing at this Ascension stage on a very one-sided affair. So 9Z, I think they're getting their eyes opened right now.
Yeah, a little bit. This is eyes open, foreheads peeled back. I mean, this is, you know, again, like I really need to harp on this. Like the first 6 rounds, I don't think we really could have justified or classified, you know, as much of a skill gap as I think we started to feel in those last handful of rounds. Like the 1v3 from Inspire, pretty unexcusable. You also have Eggster with a little 1v2 moment. That one was even more inexcusable. And then even there at that last final fight, like Toxa screens up, gives the defense a bit of an advantage in terms of how they take the gunfights, but just bursting into the play and being able to connect with headshots. It does feel like Envy's coming with something a little bit different, and this is not good news for 9Z. On your map pick, going into what will be maybe a very quick map number 2 that Envy is going to feel very prepared on, it doesn't feel great, and you need to respond with this opening pistol in the second half if you are 9Z.
Now it's going to have to come down to the preparation on the side of Envy. As I mentioned before, in these pistol rounds, usually here for the set of 9Z, they like to just go for a full-out death ball. If Envy is going to be ready for that one, they have util to work with. Now with the change from Kane Zero going on to this raise, and they also have that firepower that's been displayed across the board throughout this first half. Now, what are you going to try to do for 9Z? Are you going to try to default a little bit more? I don't think so. I don't think you should, because at the same time, if you're trying to go with the mentality that you want to play your own game and you want to disrespect your opponents and not think about what they do, then you have to stay as that death ball, and you have to bring that confidence into your gunfights. If you're thinking about, at least for me, in perspective of their defensive round, they did still do pretty good for 9Z in terms of the macros, placing the players at the right spot, trying to fight into the right spots, but just couldn't trade well enough. And then it's the mid-round where everything started to fall apart. Now we're seeing here for 9Z, looks like potentially a split into the B site with a lot of noise made towards A.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of this, just to, again, know that you're going to be getting some aggression out of Envy immediately. They've got a lot of rounds to play with. They could do something crazy if they wanted to, but if you're 9Z, you need to establish some footing, some control, like flat out. Just get something going out of your playbook to force Envy to throw some respect. So you call it properly here, Vansili. A little bit of noise, a little bit of utility thrown towards A, quick rotation back in towards pillars, but look at the position from Egster, already deep over towards Mound, means that, yeah, the defense can just stack here on this cross, and Kane Zera is able to connect first. Egster follows with the following two, you boop him back with the blast pack, and it's all egg all the time. Envy looking good for the pistol.
And that's how it starts. I mean, the read was perfect from Envy's side. Make a lot of noise, stop the stall, stop the push from the A side. Season A was going to get so much, if anything. Well, hold that thought, though. Klaus is going to try to clutch a 1 versus 4 as he's moving towards that spike.
Well, try you may, but Ion's already on the close corner. No problems there. And, well, Vansili, now you have to force buy, I think, if you're looking at this from 9Z, and they found 1 elimination and no plant, so...
Hopefully still enough. I think you'll still be able to get a couple of stingers, maybe small shields instead of going for a lot of util behind it. But I wanted to add that extra layer from the setup from Envy on that defense. The double push towards Mound. When you're seeing nobody's moving on that side, you're taking forward position, and it allows for you to pincer back from front and back to retake that B site. And 9Z was not ready for that. So now they're going into their pistol round, staying as a 5-man stack, rushing and fighting towards Mound.
Yeah, but that's great. Egster does not initially hit the gate crash. Instead, stays a little bit longer and gets some really good information. Has the decoy out just past the traps of the Cypher. And this has just been great stall tactics. Now, all of a sudden, you've got popping on the cross-through door if they commit, which it looks like they're about to. Inspire in the corner, runs out of ammunition, but Egg up top will shut it largely all down. A couple of trades from 9Z get them on site, but it's a 3v2 in favor of Envy's defense.
We'll have to talk about the little details in a second here from that Cypher play of Inspire. But here's that forward push towards that spawn, but looks like we want to decide differently. Tap the spike, bait out the shots, bait out the swings, and try to fight toe-to-toe.
Well, Ion will have to hit an outlaw shot. The Arc Rose is placed. Doesn't reveal too much. Haunt will be deleted. Now the counter. Pistol shots from Kane work out, and whoa, I think Ion thought he hit that. Doesn't make a difference. Kane is able to connect 12-2, and we are in the, well, ballpark of capital WOOF. Woof.
Yeah, but it's not the same type of woof. They're not barking on the side of 9Z, especially with this type of scoreline displayed by Envy so far. But look at this detail. The fact that Inspired never needed to move and was able to get 2 kills out of that one was thanks first to the trip that he placed on that mound. It stopped the first Prowler from the fade. And then the second one was actually the clone thrown by Egster that the second Prowler hit. So they thought the left side was clear because it was just supposed to be a clone and nobody else. And then he picks up 2 kills out of that one. That's just unfortunate slides from 9Z. The pressure's surmounting on trying to perform well here on the stage as their first game in Ascension. Unfortunately, it's not the case, but thankfully, it is still a 3-map series, so they have a chance to maybe turn it around on Sunset.
Yeah, this is wild. I think, again, this is the way the Death set this up. Like, this is LATAM's #1 team out of 9Z. They really showed some consistent success across the year as well. Same can be said for Envy. A couple of stumbles maybe early on in the year that was maybe against the expectations that everyone had for the team overall, but they've shown up and shown out, and this is a statement and a half to all of those that are watching right now, not just online, but of course in person, that are waiting to possibly play this NV team. Good patience here, 9Z, with the, again, possible last purchase of this map. Need to be very cautious. Toxic screen up, and they're trying to make their move, but I don't think that Prowler sees the raise, and now all of a sudden you've got the angle, you've got the vice wall, and Envy just don't care about it. They're going to find all 3 first eliminations.
That's GG. That's 2 dogs lost here in a 5v2. There's still trips on the site. That is just unfortunate.
Sheesh.
A flawless at that.
Well, I mean, Vance, what do you say?
I say this is definitely the Envy that we wanted to see if you're an Envy fan from across the world. Again, a slow start that they had on Split 2, or a slow finish that they had on Split 2 when they lost here in the playoffs quite early, but came back with a vengeance on Split 3, and this was the big test. Exter mentioned that they're potentially the team that's supposed to be able to win it all, and they definitely displayed this on the first map with just better firepower than their opponents.
Absolute DoorDash speed run. Map number 1. That's 9Z's map pick too. What are we talking about? Not great news, as Envy is absolutely punishing on a brand new composition that we really have not seen from them on that map. Sunset, map number 2 is what we have coming up next. Any final thoughts, or precursor thoughts, I should say, Vance, before we toss over to a break?
Yeah, if anything, there's still a chance here for 9Z to bring things forward onto Sunset. They're still testing out that map. They've came out with different compositions, playing a bit of a Breach Neon. Maybe that could be the thing that could stop here the heavy pushes on the side of Envy, and hopefully they have more preps into the layers of what they brought here on Lotus.
Well, that's Vans. I'm Shift. Welcome to the first match of Ascension. And, well, if you're an Envy fan, you're loving what you're seeing. We'll head back to a break. When we come back, map number 2, Sunset. Don't go far.
Game changers. It's about competition, pure happiness. It's like a crazy experience. We're making history. It means so much to us. It's good to be back. I guess I know what I've been looking for, success. The beauty of gaming is it doesn't matter who you are. But as long as I'm good enough, everybody's getting a 4K. I can go as far as I want.
That's what I like to see, baby.
全世界都会知道我们的厉害。
Welcome back, everyone, to Ascension Americas. And if you missed that map of Lotus, let's just say that if you're an Envy fan, you're having the greatest day of your life. And if you're a 9C fan, things are not really going your way.
Yep.
That was insane. It was 9C's map pick of Lotus, Roy, and they lose it 2-13.
Yeah, I mean, the first half is brutal. There's just really no other way to put it, to be honest. But I will say, that being said, there were so many opportunities for 9Z to make that first half like insanely favorable, to be honest. They lost, it felt like they lost every single favorable situation. They lost the 2v2s, they lost the 2v3s, or sorry, the 3v2s. They lost the triple kill in tree. Like, there were so many opportunities for 9Z to actually have had a very successful first half. And I feel like had they survived that first half in kind of a decent way, I feel like the second half they would have had more room to kind of like, you know, showcase themselves. But I think the 10-2 half plus the Envy second half pistol, I mean, that just doesn't really leave you with much to work with.
No, and I think some of the awareness and then the spacing on the side of 9Z is where that was going wrong, right? Vance called it out about like some of the experience, who's actually looking for that backstab that they're anticipating. And then just these moments where they should have been able to get some of those trades. Like Egster getting that 3K in tree that we keep talking about shouldn't have
this right
happened.
here too. Oh my
that
God.
one was insane. And like I actually, my jaw dropped when I saw Inspire do that. I was like, there's no way he just won that 1v3. Like, it is crazy how many multi-kills. Every single player on the side of Envy had at least one 3K except for Kane Zera. And that just says so much about how they were able to convert those rounds that where they were finding that deficit when 9Z did manage to get those initial advantages.
And guys, honestly, I was a little skeptical too when I saw Kane Zera on the race, because I mean, it was kind of a curveball even for me, and I was kind of expecting everything, and I was still a little bit shook off. But his race looked fantastic. He looked great on it. And now I'm thinking, why hasn't he played that even beforehand? But I think for 9Z, the weird thing for me is obviously this is their map pick, and they kind of went into a meta-ish comp. Like, it's not like they played some wacky Envy composition. It was like kind of meta adjacent. And I feel like this was the situation where they should have been, you know, a lot more comfortable, a lot more familiar with the way Envy was going to be playing. But I mean, 13-2 on your map pick, that's harsh.
Yeah, and imagine them feeling confident with the comp that they had been playing and found so much success with during the LATAM finals too, right? But then you've also got an Eggster that's going 20-10, that's dealing with that Vice utility from Negs so skillfully as well, like being able to bait out to the wall, ensuring that those vines are going down early. Also, Envy just doing Envy things, not really caring about the Thorns. Like, they're happy to jump through to guarantee that they're going to get that trade, even if they're going to take a little bit of that damage. And it really does seem like 9Z maybe underestimated them heading into that matchup from what we heard in that interview, where they were talking about, okay, like there isn't like crazy strategy on the side of Envy, and you called that out, Roy. It's those layers, those moments that you have to be prepared for.
It's so insane. Again, it is your map pick and you're just barely able to get anything done. And Roy, like you were saying, there were some advantages, whether it was the openings or the late rounds for 9Z, but they couldn't close any of them out. Do you think, as a player, if in this kind of position, is it easier to reset because it was so one-sided, or is it even more tilting knowing that it was your map pick, that you were confident that you were gonna get that win?
Oh, that's really hard to say. I'm not really sure how I'd be feeling, to be honest. A part of me can just brush this off. Like, when you lose 13-2, obviously a lot of things just did not go your way. And I feel like if you're 9Z, you're thinking back on that and you're like, okay, well, we were in a lot of favorable situations. So as long as, you know, we tighten up in those situations, we can have more, you know, more favorable outcomes, or at least more respectable score lines. So I think they should be able to reset. Obviously, we're dealing with seasoned professionals here and veterans. Like, these guys should have the capacity to reset. But I mean, hey, Lotus defense side, you get swept. It happens. We're going into Sunset. It's a little bit more balanced. It's a little bit more opportunities for you to display yourself and showcase. So hopefully they can bounce back in the second map.
And it's something that happens sometimes where you get the enemy's map pick and the other way around, going to map 1 and map 2. But our next map, Ash, is going to be this map of Sunset. This is Envy's pick, and yeah, I came into this match and I told you guys that I felt like it was going to be very close, that we were going to the third map, but now I don't know if I feel that way. What are you thinking?
I'm scared, Dan. I'm really scared. Heading over to Sunset, I think you think about the fact that, like, for Envy, the first time that they played it during stage 3, it was a tough game up against Q-Bird Academy. But once we saw them playing it during playoffs, they were absolutely owning on Sunset. And it's the complete opposite story for 9Z. We actually didn't see this map from them at all during the LATAM finals. And during stage 2 of LATAM, 9Z was not having the results that we wanted. We saw them go through 3 different compositions as well, a little bit of an identity crisis on this map. Maybe the silver lining is that Envy don't really know what to expect out of 9Z, but Envy, again, they focus so much on playing their own game.
Yeah, and I would also like to remind us that Envy has about a 92% win rate on their defensive side on this map over 3 matches. That means they've closed almost 100% of their defense rounds. That is crazy. And they're starting on the defense side. They're coming off a very hot first map as well. I mean, this is most certainly an uphill battle if you're 9Z. I'm hoping they can bounce back. I'm hoping they can kind of get things rolling and sort of, you know, set the tone on their attack side.
But also on the other side for Envy, this is the kind of result that a lot of people were expecting. They were expecting this team to continue to dominate in the same way that they did in North America, to dominate against the other regions here in Ascension. So they are doing exactly that with that 13-2 that they got in that map 1. But going into the second one that you guys are saying, it is going to be tough. There are some opportunities. There are some answers for 9Z, especially because we haven't seen this map in a long time, Ash. But no matter what, the confidence for Envy is something that you need to shut down early into this map.
Yeah, and having them start off with 13-2 on the last one, it's something that's going to be hard to shut down from 9Z. But I am glad to see at the very least that there are smiles on the 9Z side as they prepare to head into Sunset. That's a really good sign for me as we get into our second map of the day. And I do want to see that hot start that you were talking about, because if they get any sort of vibe in the Envy camp that they're going to be able to do what they did on Lotus on Sunset, I would be terrified.
Oh, they're going for the infamous PRX comp. I like it. I like the pivot for 9Z, to be honest. I think the Sage is really good on this map. I like their composition. I think it has a lot to work with. And I feel like you have enough tools with a double controller to push and pull Envy in the right way and hopefully punish the aggression that might come out from the Raze, or sorry, from the Yoru and from the Neon as well. So for me, what I'm looking towards is how 9Z is going to get things rolling on this attack half, because Envy's defense has looked flawless. So hopefully they've done the tape. It should feel familiar to what they've played before. Obviously, they're swapping over the controller a little bit from Omen to Clove, but I don't think that changes too much for the Envy side. So hopefully 9Z can get things going in this first half. It's going to be very important, guys.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out that Clove to Omen pick there for Ion as well, because I think that it just tells you how much more respect they're giving this Ascension run as well, to not be playing that Clove, not seeing Ion taking those crazy risks that we've seen on Sunset previously. I can't wait.
I also can't wait. Both of the teams bringing some changes into the second map of Sunset, and we need to see if 9Z can come back out of that disaster of map 1, or if Envy are going to continue to dominate against the LATAM squad. Let's find out with your casters is Shift and Vance.
Well, we're back, and we're back very quickly for map number 2, Sunset, Envy's selection. Time to get locked in, because if you're an Envy fan, you already know. More double duelist action on the way. And I would say the composition for 9Z does feel very, let's try to stop that type mentality.
Definitely, and it's already a composition that they tried out in the past as well. It's actually the only composition they got value of in their own region in the latest split, winning that against Rebirth Esports. And as Roy was mentioning, is a little bit of a Paper X style, but we'll see if they bring that type of same style that Paper X does, because it's very hard to mimic that type of Paper X playstyle, just like it's very hard to mimic the Envy playstyle. So that's why you're gonna have to play, hopefully, with the Sage walls that they have now, with the buffs, that might be able to help them a little bit more to create that earlier space that they need here to try to fight for these site takes. And you're already seeing it. We're going back to it. The 5-player death ball, just, we didn't see on Lotus, but now we're going back to their tried and true. So the conversation from the coach to the team, let's play that game that we know of, and let's fight into a weaker site that Envy's holding currently.
Yeah, I think there's also some level of like, look, just forget map 1. Let's come out with some sauce. And Kane actually almost survives to take down 2. Misses the opportunity trying to go into the relay bolt, so the defense will rotate quickly, but no burst behind that for 9Z. Moment of pause, little silence to create confusion here for 9Z.
Where the issue is, though, because they're stuck towards the A site. They have no mid control. They have no B presence. So it's almost like a stop and go. I like good old one gear style, and Envy's already there to fight. So you're going to have to wait a very long time, and you're not going to have too much util to re-clear if you're going to go into a different spot, which is what you're trying to choose to do now for 9Z. So you have to stay continuing as a group so you can trade off as soon as possible. And by the time they make it towards that B site, you'll have that recon dart back up here for Klaus. You'll also have the shock dart for the B site. And then this finally will allow here 9Z to play a pretty decent post plan as Envy are still anchored here over towards A.
Yeah, but you have to exert some caution if you're 9Z. You can't just walk in freely to main, you would think, just knowing how proactive Inspire had been in map number 1. More importantly for Envy, this is a very passive setup for the Cypher. So yeah, this shock dart will miss the opening trip. The one way is absolutely perfect. Does get countered though, so that's an open battlefield now to jump onto B and get a plant.
Yeah, try to do a little bit of a 2023 tech. The Poppin's already moving out for that first headshot on Soother.
Yeah, you could just tell Envy's feeling it. The reveal comes through. You follow with the shoulder, but Delzik able to turn him aside. Klaus good for another 2, and just like that, 9Z survive through the trade battle and win the battle onto B itself for the opening pistol.
Now we're starting to see a little bit of a Klaus that Dandrai was mentioning on the desk here of how much he's improved ever since he left that crew team and been grinding it towards the VCL. A little bit of a start that's definitely needed for the side of 9Z. I love here that we didn't really try to go for a fast re-hit at the minute mark as soon as the recon comes back up. By them stopping that noise, cutting that noise, you kind of just kept Envy guessing, because once they stacked up towards that site, they did leave that gap on middle. So they had to be afraid of like a lurk, the walk up, because they didn't clear too much on their side. And Envy now, you're seeing the second round, no shenanigans. Full classics on this side. Aggressive camera to look towards that B site.
Except there's lowercase shenanigans going on over at A with the judge in play. And Kane has to be in the right spot for this to find any sort of value. And we'll very quickly realize that it's not coming A. Poppin will step forward to ensure that. And now you just got to keep an eye on the Neon defensively to see if they can even get to the front side of B before this hit develops, because it looks like it's about to.
That's just how much respect 9Z is giving to Envy after that display of the first map. Look at how they're just staying back towards that spawn because they're just expecting some sort of a 1 minute pop. And as it finally, we pass that threshold of that timer, they're trying to walk for some space and you're losing that 1v1. It's guaranteed to be hit now.
Yeah, yep, you're absolutely right. Aldrone is out. Paint shells deeper in towards site. The judge is not at the front doors, though. It is only Egg inside of this trap, and he gets denied. Kane looking for an opportunity, but 9Z has stepped up, found the eliminations that they need, and this should be a pretty comfortable anti-eco.
First miss there in terms of timing for Envy with that paranoia retake with the judge. Went a little bit too far ahead for the side of Kane, and yes, definitely, this should be an easy finish. You're seeing right now that you're trying to go for exits for Ion, but also at the same time trying to die to Spike, so you're not really fully committing yourself to show yourself out. You don't want to give any orbs to your opponents. You want to make sure here that you have the best possible outcome in your gun round against 9Z's bonus round. But at least from what I've seen here in the last 2 rounds, there's been some sort of, you know, trying to sneak through utility and try to sneak through some of the exec for the side of Envy. They got through those gaps, they just couldn't kill him with the classics.
Yeah, very true. Well, Nags is going to find a couple of key eliminations there late. Envy will forfeit 2 ultimate orbs towards the potential resurrection, which could be nice, especially if you decide to try to play these, you know, trap-style opening defenses. If you're Envy, you have to be successful convincingly in those. Otherwise, it will essentially be for naught. So something to consider as we move forward. Small little note, but yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You know, for 9Z, much more efficient in terms of how they've been able to find their opening 1v1s. You know, not just dropping and falling. It's been evenly exchanged at worst. So better here for 9Z in the opening frames of map 2.
Definitely seeing that they're a little bit more warmed up for the side of 9Z as well. Those were some clean shots from Nagzed and even earlier on by Klaus. And now back into a 4-1. Already an early lurk up for Soother. When this wall comes down, the trip's going to spot him, and the rest of the fight's going to happen towards this A site.
Flash comes through. Taco's able to at least counter the opening first blood. Again, just keeping it even. And ooh, deep relay bolt would have found success, but Kane peaks a little bit too early. So now it's just on to Inspire, who cannot win the 1v1 versus Soother. And how about the bonus coming through for 9Z? Hold your horses. They're showing up.
And that's what they were expecting on that second round there for 9Z, why we stayed out towards that front B side so late into the round before actually committing into the B site. That double flash to try to peek through, but they did not expect that judge. Close range here from Taco that's not going to get affected by any sorts of flashes. That was a paranoia flash in the front. It's good for 1 kill, but nobody really there to trade off, and Exter just couldn't be quick enough to TP out here for them to just hold the numbers advantage. And then look at that. Now he comes down to individual plays from that lurk from Soother. Wins 2 individual 1v1. So now you're looking toe-to-toe, though. It's looking a lot better. Envy is going to have to start thinking about cleaning things up a little bit more and making sure that potentially they're going to have to start playing a little bit more together instead of going for these solo pushes like they kind of did, or these solo plays like they did on Lotus.
Yeah, and, you know, pending how these next 2 rounds go, could be something to consider and talk about if they do decide to go to an early timeout. In terms of, do we want to keep playing for traps, or do we want to just kind of save our utility and play for an aggressive retake before the post plan can really get stabilized? But this round will be a bit of an enigma towards that conversation, just due to the fact that it is Sheriffs with a Guardian and a Bucky. And interestingly enough, 9Z will find freedom to walk right down mid and make some decisions from here.
You see how tucked in we are for the side of Envy. Even though you're taking top mid control, you want to try to go for a split into the B site. You're still in very tight angles for Envy to isolate individual pushes coming out from the side of 9Z. They haven't made any noise yet, so everybody's trying to push forward to try to find info. And finally, the first point of contact in front of the B site. And here comes the fight towards Boba.
This is dangerous, though. Paranoid's going to come through. Blast pack away. Taco sets up Nags for 1. Eye unable to connect, though, for some sort of a trade. The Bucky will be collected, but largely you got to be thinking Ion still holding on to the pistol. And now a swift rotation from mid over towards A. Spy Cam will be the first point of contact to this, though, so it gives Inspire a chance. No full reveal, slipping around the dark cover.
No
a bit
way.
mixy, but he's able to find 1. Meanwhile, Exter finds the lurker through mid, so we got a 2-on-2.
At least they get the plat down.
Oh, what a play from Taco. Stops the rotation before it can occur. Decoy does get hit, but also Ion down to low HP and no ammunition. Soother able to finish off the finally limit. It's a swift 4-0 lead for 9Z.
I saw the vision coming out from Inspire too. He held on to those 2 trips the whole round. And then once he realized, okay, well, we stuffed them enough here towards that B site. They're going to late rotate towards A. There's not going to be enough time left. We're going to start making some noise. He places the trip right towards short. He was hoping to potentially get a trip kill or something like that, but if not, played around the smoke perfectly to take down the planner. But outside of that, with that instant trade, very hard for you to retake on. If anything, it comes down to nice, crisp shots, especially out from Takuya against Exer right towards that shop when Exer is trying to throw his clone out. So again, we're going back into these toe-to-toe fights that 9Z looks woken up now from the previous map of Lotus. And this forces out, you were talking about here, Shift, the first time out actually used in this whole series from the side of Envy. And Stunner is going to try to discuss things now with the team.
Yeah, I can't imagine they needed to talk about too much in a 13-2 map number 1. But yeah, I think this has got to be an identity conversation about, all right, we're not really finding the value, you know, just to evaluate flat out the opening 1v1s, these before, like in front of the barrier battles in the first 15-20 seconds have only been evenly traded at best for Envy. They're not really finding the value that I think they're anticipating with the double duelist. So do we commit more resources to that, try to dominate one of those spaces early, or do we kind of back off of it, value playing a 5-man retake a little bit later on, especially as you need to consider things like a Hunter's Fury, like a Resurrection, getting close to things like Viper's Pit. Like there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worried about here outside of just the economy for 9Z financially.
With Envy's playstyle, I would totally respect for them just to fight the A side quite often and delay on B, right? Because you're always having somebody inserted so far for 9Z. If it's not going to be for a 4-player walk up and try to go for a contact play, there is at least the lurk out from Soother. He's been glued on the right side of the map this whole map so far. So that could be something they could punish, which they're already doing so, walking down here in this rifle round.
Yeah. But more patience this time for Envy. You get the dark cover one way over towards A. You have the op watching the initial angle at B. It's very, very safe. The offense, though, going to wander their way through mid. Market. Oh, the spy cam is in such a good spot, just over the dark cover. And Delzik will pay for his crimes of not placing it fully correct. That's an opening first blood to come through. Again, the resurrection is there. The barrier orb was committed to that. Hunter's Fury called in, tags a couple, but cannot find the elimination. And things will reset to the 5v5.
Big W, though. You force up the res, you force up the heal. They don't have too much to work out right now for 9Z in terms of the support that Nagzet could bring for the team, except for these slow orbs. A couple of pings gives you information on this attempt that they're trying to do to work up towards mid again, and you're still having great delays being played by Inspire. This should be a last-second hit towards the B site right now, so it's still a good read for 9Z to continue to brute force away on that side.
Hunter's Fury is out for the offense, trying to clear out that front space over at Market, but Exter connects over through the front, and Inspire gets replaced back inside of Market, comes away with everything. Credit him technically 4 kills on the round so far, and Klaus back towards his spawn will just sit and wait.
And that's a Hail Mary play. Just no map control. Let's just try to get some pings to answer back on the side of 9Z and brute force a way through towards Market. Remember that cam kill that he got on Delzik earlier on? That's a sort of play here that Inspire loves to play. We haven't really seen it on Lotus before, but if you've been watching challengers in North America, he places the cameras on different spots, server time, to realize where smokes kind of land, where they're kind of being thrown, so he still gets good value with the camera to look through. And then as you delay so well with that util, he's also been the reason why Envy has such a high percentage defensive round rate in terms of how good he's anchoring towards these sites. Although I see it most often usually on the A site getting these multi-kills, but he's controlling Market like a charm.
Yeah, absolutely beautifully. Opening shock dart bounces right past the ears of Suther, who is on lurk duty right now over towards A. Poison Cloud is down to try to control the space up front. Meanwhile, a little bit of early pressure established for 9Z at the front gates of B, but nothing to come of it yet. We'll bounce back, pause, and reconsider.
Just looking to go for a fight play on A side for that control. You're seeing how tucked in we are for Kane Zero. The Paranoid propped up here for Ion, so they could just go for the stun, push down, and fight, and Kane trying to go for the hero play with that. They'll heal the drone, so he's going to have to fall back for a bit, but that's not too much information taken here for the side of 9Z after that. Yeah, you're able to bait out util and positioning. Okay, at least you're able to bait out Kane Zero pushing forward. Nice little pick by Suther.
Yeah, that felt like a bit of a over-anxious
100%.
peak right there. And I mean, to be fair, if Kane either A, wins that battle, or B, just gets forward, it allows the defense to really invest into this B defense. But now you've got to consider 2 things at once. First and foremost, though, for this defense at B is if A can hit again. Double blast pack out. Forces the shot. Does not work. Gate crash is not set up right now. Has to avoid the slow orb and does so nicely. But Taco's already on site and deals with the Cypher. Decoy gives Egg a chance. Finds himself one that also earns a dimensional drift. Chance to maybe stall out this plant a little bit, but the barrier orb reinforces the post-plant attack. Egg is stuck into a corner, but here comes the rest of Envy from the opposite side, and Poppin saves a life. Just down to 1. It's Delzik for the 1v3. Trying to slip around the back side, but Ion reads it, deals with it, and it's 2 rounds in a row for Envy.
Just mechanically so good there for Exter, but let's underline how they were so ready for that B-side hit no matter what. Yes, it looks like it was a overcommitment when you started with Kane for that 1v1 fight against Suther, but you still had the support from, I think it was Ions moving forward, so they still blocked that lane. So in the mid-round, they're like, well, this is going to be another one of those hits towards that B site. And just getting that one single kill from Exter allows for him to get into the ult, pick up a rifle, delay towards that front site so that the other players could flood through from that back. Another round here where they had a good advantage to start for the side of 9Z, just like Lotus, but just unfortunately couldn't capitalize onto a round, and you're starting to see Envy here trying to find a little bit of footing towards this map.
Well, showstopper into the corner does work out. Heal orb is immediately there as Klaus will actually give some support and make sure Taco can stay alive. So quick 5v3, little burst play is working out nicely for 9Z. And honestly, this just comes down to can Kane connect? He finds the first. Fast lane to reposition, but shut down by Delzik. Good slow orb placement by Nags. Turning that into essentially an assist plus a self-credited kill. And it's on to Eggster for what have to be a 1v4. Finds the first 2 in the corner almost. He had a good read, but Nags slipped underneath the aim, and 9Z get back on the board.
And now finally, you're again, when you're starting to see the players starting to wake up a little bit on the second map from that pissed round, landing very, very nice shots, instant headshots, instant laser beams. You're not going to see these types of mistakes like we kind of did on Lotus, where these 1 versus X's, these clutch scenarios that were so good from Eggster himself and from Inspire on that 1 versus 3 earlier on Lotus is not going to happen again this time around. So I love the fact too that they're kind of just, it doesn't look like they're playing together, but you're just trying to play the bait and exit. Even if he dies, there was going to be that swing out from Klaus when Eggster was going to be out in the open to guarantee a trade. So it's very nicely done. And it's a great start for the side of 9Z, because we just talked about how, you know, Envy are so good on defense, yet they've only mustered up 2 rounds out of 8 so far.
Still a chance to full purchase for Envy. Credits and economy is mostly fine for 9Z. A couple players feeling the burn just a touch, but with a 3-round edge, like you mentioned, you're still feeling pretty confident about what you've done so far. Key moments here, though, in round 8. Different op placement initially for Kane. Peeking through mid, dark cover will back off the angle, and 9Z late in this round will start to make their way through mid.
Yeah, Envy are changing things a little bit more to try to go for that mid control, because so far, presence towards A, they're just holding that line, but nobody was really rushing up except for explosive rounds. So now they are actually setting up a crossfire. There's a TP there to help for the side of Exter to really try to cancel out the mid lurk that we're trying to take, and that is an overzealous peek that gets punished.
Yeah, and that's just tough because you have to challenge the dark cover at A. They use the Owl drone. At the same time, they're trying to hope that Envy's focus will be on A, that they can work up mid. Not the case whatsoever. Absolutely stuffed. And now you have to kind of force the square peg into the round hole. You don't have any intel at all on A, but you got to try to make a play somewhere. And it's going to have to be here. So they're stalled. Good slow orb, but Poppin has freedom to pop the Owl drone. Good reveal behind that. And Kane Zero will line up for the collat and then just push on forward. Nax is able to get the plant off and a little bit of damage, but there's just no way you survive through that. It will be Chuck Dart able to find the final damage needed as Envy get back onto their winning ways.
That was a beautiful paranoia thrown there by Ions on top of the relay bolt from Kane to get such the easiest collateral. You saw them both standing still, literally like deers in front of the headlights. And then they got collated right there. But it comes down to, okay, the mid control was kind of there. Kind of trying to get picked up here for the side of 9Z. But this right here, after the wall, swinging one by one, the play was already to try to maybe have that Omen, if it's still alive here, to flash to go for that single peek, because the Sage still has to slow towards that spawn. There wasn't really any adaptation on the fly of like, okay, crap, we've lost our Omen. We should try to go for a double swing instead of using util, or cancel and try to move somewhere else and activate somewhere else because you've already given your tell on mid. So that is going to call for an instant timeout for the side here of 9Z. Maybe. I don't think it's going to be like, okay, we have to be watching out for all these check marks that I've just mentioned before, but it's also to just cool down here the fact that they really got stuffed on the last 2 exits that they tried to do here against Envy.
And think about how it's different. Like, just from identity standpoint, you're not going into 5v4s or even 4v4s. So that's one of those situations that you look at it and say the first blood efficiency that we kind of really gave them credit for in the first 5 rounds or so has been a little bit more absent. So there's an opportunity here, I think, to talk about, okay, well, if we're going to be playing full 5v5s late, how does that change our executive kind of decision making? But on the other front, maybe we just try to hit a bit of a burst and see if we could displace the defense that's still keen to play by the barrier. It's just not as forward and as proactive in trying to set up trap plays as they were in the openings.
It'll have to come down then to what type of util you really want to use to try to, or maybe snuff out where the operator's standing in the first place, or how do you push him back from that line if you're going to face off against this op, right? So I don't know if they're going to go for a different wall. It's still going to be the same one for the side here of 9Z. A little bit of a a force buy that you have on that side. There's a Guardian for Delzik, and Nags that only has the Sheriff to work with. So after this timeout, you're seeing that there's no change of pace. They're not trying to explode as fast as they can. They're going back to their tried and true. Give up middle, try to work out towards A first, and then try to plow towards that B side for the finish.
See how it all unfolds. If they do get the plant down, Viper's Pit could be key. Not a guaranteed way to clear that right now. So that's something to consider.
Exactly why you want to go for a 5-man hit here for 9Z. You have a res to work out with if you want to go for a triple swing and then get that pit onto the site and just get your plant down.
Well, once this is communicated, Ion can teleport over to help. Looks like he's going to be committing for that. And yeah, he's going to go to the backside at B. Eggster, first one up defensively. Has not been able to see anything over the top of the trap. Now has an opportunity as it falls. First blood good. Second better. Now looking for more. Everyone's stuck in the corner. And it's going to be Egg for 4. Yeesh. Flawless round. And 9Z off the force buy and the timeout come up empty.
You have to understand, too, why 9Z didn't really commit to that pit yet either, because it's so passively played from the side here of Envy. They tried to go for a flash just to try to bait out shots in the very beginning. So you're thinking, okay, well, they're playing a little bit more passively. They're going to play around the util. We could just 5-man hit into the site. If we're able to take map control, site control, then we could pit right after, because if you're just going to pit through, you're going to get 0 information against what you have potentially on the retake for the side of Envy, especially when you heard that TP back from Ions. So yeah, the decision was there, but unfortunately the one with the pick off guard and out in the open, and that just really filled the rest of the execution once it got into the site.
Well, it was a quick 4-0 lead for 9Z. Since that point, it's been pretty much all Envy. And 9Z will likely, I imagine, anticipate that this round will not go all that favorably, but don't want to rule them out. We've seen a couple of great shots from Nags and Suther in particular on Sheriff, so still a chance to get something done, especially with the burst potential of Taco jumping on in. Aldrone will scout out some of the defensive pressure at elbow, not a ton, and oh, Envy look that they want to challenge this. And why not?
Easily.
Follow up, no problem. Viper's wall, if that drops, could be dangerous, and it does, and it is. Oh my goodness. Back-to-back flawless rounds for Envy, and we're tied at 5.
Oh no, I feel like I'm a teeter-totter or just a pendulum, because we went from, hey, this is good trades, good shots coming out here from the side of 9Z. Envy can't really go for these solo plays. Now we just got an extra 4K. We just got a Ion 4K right over here. And again, for the last slow pacing that we're trying to do, the slow scaling, sorry, that we're trying to do from 9Z is continuously peaking one by one right after, and they're just running into these sprays out from Envy's side. So now hopefully they could gather up the what they needed from that timeout to take these last 2 rounds. But they are giving up so much space as we go.
But this is kind of identified as what the first 4 rounds looked like. The dark cover one way, not working out for Kane Zera. But look at the follow-up Ion, so bold. Does force the early res. Oh, no, and then the blind shot just predicting through the dark cover lands. Delzik loses his life. Aldrone will scout a little bit of this out, but Ion is still in position. And he's able to hit another. Does he get more? Opportunity for his, the paint shells will force him back, and that will be how Taco gets not just 1, but 2. And all of a sudden, numbers back into the arms of 9Z.
And thankfully, Taco's there to really calm down that round. The wall, they're going to plant for a spawn. He's going to get an ult out of it, too.
And there, whoa, no fly zone. Inspire shuts down the showstopper. Gate crash set. Nags is seen on the cross. Flash lands. Envy clears out the tight corner. Now has to go over towards elbow. They're going to swing it. First shot, good. But Exter responds to the 1v1. Dimensional drift comes through, and he's trying to dance with it. And it's just more Yoru antics for the egg. A huge bounce back. Credit Ion initially, but egg for the finish.
Put that into highlight reel. That's going to be talked about on Reddit. He got clowned on. He got TP'd right in front of his face and still kills him with the shorty. It doesn't matter that you were down so many rounds on your defensive side. Look at how it finishes. Look how Ion is opening things up with the operator as well. I think that first kill that he got onto Delzik, if I'm not mistaken, Delzik jumped into the smoke too. So he hears the audio cue, shoots into it, gets that pick. But look at this, dude. I can't fathom that this is what happened.
Oh, just Yoru things. Get in his face. Jump up on him. Avoid the headshot. Shorty. Oh, mercy me. 6-5 the count. 3 Guardians, pardon me. And 9Z are reeling after a 4-0 edge.
My gosh. I was also being told there was already a play being done by Exter in the North American Challengers Finals. We'll hold that thought, though. Here comes the Hunter's Fury. From the side of Poppin for the last round of the half, does get ping and information on that side. And look at how they changed the defensive round, too.
Oh,
they're expecting, okay, well, yeah, 9Z, we're getting snuffed all over the place.
Oh.
We could try to go for that plow into that A site, so Inspire is there, and now we're just going for solo peaks again. That's just unfortunate.
Yeah, looking for timing right there, but gets caught. Looking for a little bit of extra distance gained with the knife out. So numbers for 9Z to try to get us to a 6-6 half. There's the burst across. Well, what a nice little peek that was. Exter will drop. Delzik will join the effort on the site. Paranoia cuts across the back. Kane still able to connect. Saw the head of another as Poppin is trying to make his way in. Is there an opportunity to try to overwhelm this with all of a sudden the overdrive out? But Klaus shuts it down. 2v3. Hunter's Fury at the ready. Viper's Pit currently up. Poppin is soaking up a lot of the green mist. And that will be enough for 9Z to finally get something going and end the half 6-6 tied.
And I love how they executed towards that B side too. A satchel across here from Taco to break crosshair placement on the op so they could swing right after. So that was actually a nice little take towards the end. And something that I was hoping to see a little bit more of that, more of those flashy plays to maybe run away with this first half here for 9Z, but at least they're able to keep it close. It's definitely a different ball game than what we've seen here on that first map of Lotus. This is probably that type of matchup that was expected by the desk as well when they mentioned that this should have been a close game. So we were able to catch up here for the side of Envy. Keep it close, and we're going back and forth. And maybe you see that also, the value of that Sage pick on that side here of 9Z. Look at how it slowed down that aggressive overdrive on the side of Envy.
Como estás, Peloncito? Muito bem. Todo mundo da Six Karma veio pra cá. Everyone from Six Karma came here today. So, Peloncito, why you guys came? To support 9Z?
Yeah, we came to support Latam. We came to support 9Z. We're cheering for them, yeah.
Ele disse que veio aqui pra apoiar o pessoal, torcer por eles. Eu quero saber o que tá acontecendo. Do you know what's happening? Why they are having such a hard time?
Well, I think they're not used to play against teams like Envy, like really fast and aggro, and yeah, I think they're playing really good individually. So I think that's what's happening right now.
Ele diz que a 9Z não tá acostumada, talvez, a enfrentar times tão agressivos que jogam tão rápido quanto o pessoal da Envy. Então a Envy tá saindo muito bem. E eu quero saber se ele acredita. Do you believe they can come around? They can overcome this next, get to the decider?
Yes, I believe. I mean, they're doing really good right now, and I think if they keep this way, they're able to manage to win them.
Ele diz que acredita sim, se eles continuarem nessa toada, eles vão levar pro Decider. Então vamos ver, vamos voltar pro game e ver se eles conseguem levar pro Decider.
All right, the crowd's starting to get into it a little bit as 9Z has thrown a little bit of fuel into the fire and said not so fast. 6-6 the count as we swap the sides back around, and I just kind of have to ask again, this is Envy's map selection, so you know they're well-rounded on both sides of it. I would say even more so. They should do better on defense than they do offense, but is there anything kind of in the pudding here that you're looking for saying 9Z has a chance to still seal this map away?
Definitely, they're able to shoot back like they're supposed to be able to shoot back here with how prestigious this roster is in terms of the players, but also the fact that you're seeing that the solo lurks on the side of Suther were working out on the attack side. So I feel that you could also trust 9Z to play a lot of these 4-1s and anchor up here and delay as much as you could. The thing is, for this round though, this wall is a little bit there's mixed feelings about how this wall is being utilized. It allows for you to take a little bit towards the tiles as it drops, then you go for a peek. But then right after that, look at how they walk through, and Envy is about to get an open side on B. This is just completely red.
This is voluntarily selected, though, for 9Z, right? I mean, yeah, there you go. And they're actually going to find Kane on top of that. Oddly enough, Suther just kind of over towards Market. So the spike is actually not going to commit for the plant, and instead is going to make its way up towards mid, and Klaus is prepared for it. So Pistol looking pretty good here for 9Z. Inspire also caught on the roam, and unless someone pops off, this feels like a pretty casual round for 9Z.
Looks like Envy just tried to walk all the way around here and try to push towards the A site, but then they kind of split off when they got towards the back of Boba Control. And you're still planning out in the open where the flank is coming from on the triple swing when Inspire just got picked off. This is quite an interesting round here for a Pistol, for Envy at least.
Well, if you can find something as the smokes fade, maybe, but not the case. Ion. First one, no, not going to work out. Right click too strong, and 9Z take a pivotal pistol here to start the second half.
Even then, look at how the wall's placed. They're like, okay, let's wall up so we can get into the site, but they walled off the spike, so they had to wrap all the way around to go back into the defuse. So thankfully, they stayed as a group once again for 9Z. 4-player walkthrough from that kicked things off with a 3-player walk down from tiles, and eventually it came out good here for their side because everybody from Envy was kind of just separated on different spots. If they had rifles, maybe I give them a chance here for Envy, but it was very similar to what we saw in that pistol round on Lotus where Inspire was trying to be by himself on top of the staircase and got immediately popped off. But we saw what happened as soon as they had their gun runs right after. Envy had a very strong hold of the attack side. Now with the plat that they have though, no stinger buy, we have a Bucky for the side of Kane.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to utilize that to open up towards this B site.
Yeah, Mad Dash, find a weapon. Well, that was the intention, but Suther stands tall at the front doors of B. Inspire does find one, though, on his route through Market, so that kind of at least keeps this point of ingress plausible for Envy to still utilize, but the defense is rotating over, and of course they still hold the weapon superiority.
And the plan's just good here for Ion and the rest of Envy.
Egg on the corner, trying to find timing. Chips away some damage at Klaus. Inspire able to find one more, so hold your horses. Aldrin's going to be used. Try to scout this out. There's the paranoia. There's still a trap, though, in the way. It does get deleted. But Ion inside the dark cover. Can he find the timing? Oh, instead he gets a blast back to the face. Inspire following up for one more, but that will be all that Envy can collect as 9Z will take the anti-eco and grow their lead to 2.
Still a 3-player pick, a spike plant with the purchase of a Bucky on the side of Kane, so it's not too bad here for the side of Envy. I was just a bit because I saw Exer throw out that clone outside of that smoke. It was actually shot. I see him, but unfortunately, for the side of Envy, the person that shot the clone here on defense didn't get blinded by that, so it became easy kills towards the end when Exer tried to pop out of that smoke. Right over here, after this first kill from Suter, look at that, not even blinded, easy kill onto Poppin actually, and everybody else gets slowed down. So you're starting to see the counterpoint of bringing out the Sage once again, just to leverage the slowbs more than the walls here to really stuff out the aggressive pushes attempted by Envy for these side takes.
Oh, nice opening shot from Taco. A chance for more, and he gets it. Oh boy, not how you designed this opener if you're Envy, and the showstopper will force everyone to run with their tail between their legs. Huge start though for 9Z in this bonus, coming in a very unexpected manner.
Fun part about this though, it's that it's Envy. I don't think they're going to try to save their weapons for a minute and 15 seconds. They're going to try to go for some sort of play. We don't have to podcast for a bit. You see Ion just trying to spray through the smoke and gets picked off, and this should be the round now. So yeah, this is a little bit questionable here. You're trying to disrespect the one-way smoke placed up in the first place from the side of 9Z. But again, everybody really just so gapped apart when they're trying to go for jumping through that smoke. Again, you have to respect Kane because he slides across and tries to break crosshair placement. But then for the rest of the team, yeah, they're not really falling behind that to be able to get those picks. A nice shot by Taco.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at it from his perspective, you kind of see it. It's just like, why are we getting one by one through this dark cover one way? But that's a huge round. True bonus, flawless, free weapons. I mean, that is get your cake and eat it too type energy. Kane sending it. What? Hello? Like, I mean, I get it. We're on a bit of a staggered purchase, but like, what are we doing?
Is this thing on? Yeah, I mean, you're trying to surprise some players now in a lower buy this time from Envy. The spacing was there, but unfortunately couldn't pull out the Bucky on time for Kane to do any sort of damage. I mean, look at that. Everybody full in terms of what they've purchased for the side of 9Z. It was a half shield being purchased on by one of the players, but overall, you're not going to spend too much going into this game, or this next round rather. So the economy is building up quite well for the side of 9Z the second half. Envy now has a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
To try to come back here in the second half.
Well, yikes. That was, I don't know. We've seen some plays from Kane today that are just like, it does, I won't say like, I don't want to use the word like disrespecting 9Z, but it is, I don't know, a little overheating. Like they're just trying to go a step or two too far. It just doesn't feel like the support has necessarily fully been there for him, not just in map number 1, but of course you're seeing it kind of unfold here on Sunset. 9Z, first 2 kills, 2 clean, and Envy just trying to force their way through mid. Klaus is going to find a third. That's got good enough to get a Hunter's Fury. Not that he's going to really need it in this round, you'd think. Nags is still watching over through mid. Inspire does shut down Klaus, so you do pick the right site to go to, but Nags connects, and he gets to read that Inspire is also in the vicinity.
I think the smoke kind of missed on that top right side. Klaus just jumped on top of the ledge and probably got an easy one-way and just sprayed down those 3 players trying to pinch through towards Boba. So Envy trying to go for some fast action. And once again, it didn't work out.
Plant the spike.
This would be magical. Especially considering that he's picked what was essentially a one-done corner. Unless you get some sort of a lineup. You hear the footsteps just kind of teetering on the top of this B reactor. There's the first, there's the second. Stop it. 1v1 with Nags, who only has the op. No weapon to collect immediately. But Inspire is low on ammunition. But Nags is just gonna run away? What? Unbelievable. Inspire's gonna pull off a technical 1v3 as Nags decides to save the op when they could send offshore bank accounts to Bermuda if they wanted to.
And that's the thing. Even if you get the pick and no time left, Envy is going to be in a tough buy in the next round. Of course, there'll still be a rifle round, but less util. Small shields, half shields. And then you could play the long game in terms like the econ advantage. But you just gave that away there to Envy. That gives him a chance right now to really come back in this game. Extra, they could start controlling ores, maybe start working with a shotgun around here right after. And yeah, I do really think here that you would call this timeout for, I was going to think 9Z in the first place, but now it's really just think about how they've opened up this window for Envy to try to take. So it looks like Stunner has some sort of plan here that he wants to overtake right now, because it also came down to a clutch scenario for Envy to be able to get that round. And that macro game that we were saying that 9Z were doing so well on that Lotus map, they're doing it right now on top of good firepowers. Now it's Envy finally realizing, okay, we know that we're up against a good team right now, a tough team, a tough opponent, and it's time to take things a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, this is a good kumbaya moment for sure.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those, like, you've let the dog off the leash a little bit. All right, let's just pull it back just a touch. Clutch moment from Inspire, allowing a bit more of an opportunity to keep this thing tight, but the op is saved. Evaluate that decision personally in Twitch chat as you may. Still comes into play here in round 18. This is still a very critical moment in this map for Envy, who really could still largely only afford half shields.
And even Poppin doesn't have too much, so he's going to go with the Guardian. He's going to ask for a judge, but looks like we're able to buy enough here just to make sure that we have a Vandal on our side. What a play.
Yeah, yep. That's your roamer down, so Envy, they know that they need to try to go quickly, but the slow orb is in their way. Aldrone trying to scout things out past the toxic screen, doesn't reveal too much of anything. Paranoia will cut across the site. Hunter's Fury trying to delay, and Nags will get a second opportunity, and then the Hunter's Fury just holds them in their track. 2v5. This is one of those good luck, have fun type moments. There is spaghetti all over the floor. And by spaghetti, I mean slow orbs and snake bites and shock darts and everything that you don't want if you're an Envy fan.
Wait, this is Envy style now. Look at the runaway from Poppins so that Kane could hold back the A side, the B side alone. This will at least allow for you to get a plant for the side of 9Z. But if Kane could actually get some sort of a pick, cut, rotates or something, he's got to expect that there's somebody on market that should be able to hear him. You just saw here that little 360 through the minimap that Soother just tried to do. I think he heard some sort of a footstep, but they just want to make sure that they stick together on the flood retake. Because you are playing a lot of men advantage right now for that retake, a 5 versus 2.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a one-dimensional retake here. Delzik is just going to make sure there is just not any late lurks coming out of B. It's taking time, and you've got Kane just watching for contact on the cross through the mid connector. Poppins playing for sound cues up close and personal, finds the first, not going to get the second though. Now it all rests with Kane, trying to watch the cross, only on about half health. First opportunity, dark cover blocks it. Relay bolt down, op shot misses, but cannot lock the shots onto Klaus, and we're going to get 11-7 tally, 9Z in a position to control on the map.
Yeah, and despite Nagzad missing that last off shot there to get that pick onto Kane, at least the first ones that he had towards that B site was actually quite clean, easy for him to hold. And that's the experience also that Nags brings into this roster. When you talked about the desk, how good he's been in the past here for crew, it was actually like like usually a jet player, but had to play a little bit of Senti going into the crew camp, and then back into the chamber meta. He's been a prominent opper for the team, and one of the key moments of success too when they're trying to figure out that meta on the side of crew. So also putting up a lot of those numbers on the defensive side with the ops. So definitely an opponent that you have to respect for the side of Envy if you're going to try to scale through. If not, you're giving easy shots. This is what this is the scoreline that we're currently seeing here for 9Z. But look at this triple push on tiles.
This is 9Z building some confidence.
Oh.
Able to find one. That's not the worst news ever. It does kind of force a commitment here, though, for Envy. And actually, they're going to hold off and see if Poppin can kind of try to pinch this from the offensive spawn. Doesn't work out, but he will read that there is no immediate threat working through elbow, so the spike will make its way towards A and likely look to get dropped in.
Poppin's running all the way back towards B to go for the big flank. So if you could actually delay here on the side of Kane, this will be big for Poppin to flank with.
And he's got a Hunter's Fury if he does clean up the backside of the site. Just comes down to can they win these first 1v1s up close and personal. You see Kane with a Bucky on the corner. Inspire finds the first. Suther knows that there's trouble nearby. But do they know how quickly Poppin is on his way over? At elbow, though, a new front on the war has been established. Inspire finds a second. Kane! Oh! He gets a little 1v2 through elbow. And Envy somehow, some way, able to work through the magic of a force buy.
What do we do there for 9Z? First off, there's 3 players walking down tiles, and you lost to one person that has a classic. The fact that he's able to get 1 kill out of that is demonic. Right over here, on to Klaus, and even Klaus at first shot. But when they realize that they had Poppin on the full rotate, they have to know that there's going to be a stack here towards that A site. So go disrespect the lurk here on the side of spawn. Try to overtake that spot there on the side of 9Z to allow for you to retake the site a little bit more cleanly. They've given up so much space. This is twice now that we kind of given too much respect to Envy in the late rounds.
I hear you.
And that throws away 2 rounds.
Yep. Hunter's Fury at the ready, overdrive and dimensional drift for Envy. Opposite side, Showstopper. Close to a Viper's Pit is 9Z. And we've got some very unusual silence in the first 30 seconds of this round. And as I think 9Z is starting to feel a little bit of pressure all of a sudden, knowing if they drop one, things can get out of hand pretty darn quickly. Here's the dimensional drift to feel out the B site. The XQ quick to follow.
Yeah, they're trying to use a Hunter's Fury with it. He's not going to continue to follow because it's at the end of the timer of the dimensional drift. But that's full site taken now.
Oh, and Inspire cuts the action through market. Kane pushes forward to scale deeper to the backside of B. And honestly, if you're 9Z, you just don't have a route here. And Ion's going to make matters worse by playing a little bit further forward, but Klaus shuts it down. You can just tell by Delzic's position that unless a couple of kills comes through, this is likely going to be some sort of a save. And that is what we're looking at. So Envy very quickly get to 9. And it does feel like a bit of like a stagger right there from 9Z, where they just kind of get pushed back and all of a sudden they kind of feel like they're on their heels a little bit.
Well, this is where we have to commend how Envy looks really good macro-wise as well. Roy was mentioning Strong Legs at the desk, how good they are mechanically in the micro, but there was a great plan for Envy to take over that B site. As you break the door and you go with the dimensional drift, it clears out the market. You smoke up at the top, mid at the same time. What that does right now is allows Inspire to lurk into market, to find some spacing, while you're still continuing your dimensional drift inside the B site to play the good old Hunter's Fury dimensional drift combination to push players back. So not only can you potentially get pings and 80 pings with the Hunter's Fury, you take site control and you also get inserts in lurks. And that results into 9Z not being able to go back into what they're really good at, into the flood retakes on their side. And look at how they're double pushing on top of that. This is how good also you want to be having players that are selfless at the same time, where Kane Zero usually is phenomenal in the North American side, but now is just doing a great job getting those impact frags as he gains that space here for the team as his Neon.
Yeah, it's impact frags from the front of the hit, but I think just to kind of throw an extra layer into the conversation, it's not just finding value in the first bloods where you expect your executes to come from, it's how quickly in the mid round players are finding these long routes to pinch, to find these flanks, Inspire in that last round through market. As like you're starting to see the offense get deeper into B, Inspire's the one who actually finds the contact, finds the info, finds the kill, and that allows Kane to even go a little bit further. So if you're 9Z, I think you are getting a little bit pushed back, but you're finding yourself on your heels before you can even set up your retake because of how quickly you're seeing Envy move around the map. Once they find some sort of an entry, I don't even say a successful one, just some sort of entry is leading to these crazy mid-round updates and adaptations. You got to give shout outs to the IGL Inspire, I believe, that really kind of set that up.
Yeah, Poppin actually, yeah. But even Inspire could be that secondary voice too. Inspire has had a lot of IGL experience in the past as well. And definitely, if you're going to be the Cypher lurking around, you could find those timings and communicate that for the team and how you want to manipulate the rotates after your initial macros being called out now by Poppin. That said, though, after this timeout, I like this here from 9Z. I felt like they were giving a little bit too much space since Nags had got the operator. It's only going into these anti-ecos that they're actually trying to push a little bit more aggressively on their side. Now you're being proactive with utility. You're trying to find that spacing that they're trying to take for Envy side first, and now you adapt.
I was going to say, good counterintelligence here for Klaus, but Envy still trying to push through that. Trade comes out. The big question mark is what can you get from Taco when he gets shut down before you can pull the showstopper fully out? Suther holding on to market. Good reveal, good vulnerability for a moment. But again, here is that little pinch set up once again, and Ion wraps behind the play for 2. Delzik inserts himself to trade. This would be a 1v3, but the spike will quickly rotate to A for the free plant.
What a play. Exer was trying to move through. I felt like he was trying to pick up the spike and TP out because they hit the door at the same time. So they wouldn't get sprayed here by Suther, but there was a little bit of a bump chest going through. Zeke, though, got information on both players, but he is now also spotted by the cam.
First 1v1 is a critical one. Instead, trust that the dark cover will give him some peek in towards the site. The second one is set up for a potential defuse. Delzik trying to find timing outside the dark cover. Does not initially see the Cypher, but then turns back to it. To the 1v1 now with Egster. How do you play this? Delzik pops out, but Egster responds, and Envy's cooking. 10-11, down 1.
Oof. And now you're seeing like the slow pacing from Envy is also working out quite well too. So again, to talk about a little bit of the defensive side for 9Z, they were given a bit too much space when, you know, you had Nags as the op, but he's playing a Sage, so you can't really play forward angles and try to TP out. So you have to play positioning op angles rather, a little bit more passively, so they walk into your crosshair. So then you're forcing players to maybe fight or be more stacked towards middle or A, but still being too passive because you're trying to react on what's happening so far. And then Envy instead now this time they're slowing the pace down. And then when they slow down the pace, well, 9Z gets caught.
This is bold. I mean, you know that you're dealing with 9Z on limited economy, but the from the shadows into the backside of B instantly throws 9Z into tatters, and there's Ion revealing the play. Taco gets overwhelmed. And I don't know, well, I think we all kind of know, like, where was this Envy in the first half? I think there's a little bit of, like, we're better, like, you know, page 1 of the playbook, hold W kind of mentality, but they've reformed, they've restructured, and in the last 6 rounds, Envy has really taken over.
Definitely have been looking good. And though I'm pretty sure those were all the timeouts being utilized by 9Z as well, so there's not too many opportunities right now for them to really bounce back from what their coach could really see for the side of 9Z here. So right now the upper hand goes back. Yo-Man cannot have that conversation with 9Z, so it gives a chance now for Envy to really continue their strong attack side. They've shown as well on Lotus.
Wow. Rez is available, Klaus close to 100 straight, but they're not going to have a chance to respond to it, or will they? We've got a little bit of a meeting of the minds here, front side at B, and it will result in a 4v4. But look how quickly Inspire's already made his way back up towards mid. Spy cam for the defense trying to scout him out, but Inspire holds back, so he can still use this position a bit covertly if Envy want to rotate back, which it looks like they do.
I like that we're keeping an insert too, though, because you see that Nagzed has this res to work with. So Ian is staying towards B main, or he cuts rotates, or he tries to play a 1v1 when you're trying to res towards B main. And now it becomes a 2 versus 2 on the A site because of that. Envy has an opportunity to open up the A site and to have 2 individual lurks right after in the post plant.
Or is this just a play for the dimensional drift, though? Orb collected. Egg is going to be able to find 1 and then immediately get out of the dimensional drift. I think they're thinking they can isolate this Viper, anticipating that they're the only one on the site. That's not the case. And Egg will also lose his life. So 9Z, numbers advantage. And they've got Envy scattered around the map with a very late last-second rotation back to B on the way.
Swung a little bit too wide before he shot there, so kind of gave his tell on the angle being held by Nagzed. So that gives a chance now for Inspire to retreat and play with his team. We just talked about the double inserts. Poppy was making so much noise on the rotate to try to get that 1v1 forced out of 9Z. Now everybody has to stay out towards the spawn because they have to respect where Ines could be lurking.
Yep. Poppin trying to kill some time. Nobody home yet, though, past the start cover. Spam just to make sure of it. A little bit of counteraction now on the way, as 9Z will stack. Paranoia being held. And Poppin's going to find one through the dark cover, deletes the recon before it even pings. Oh my goodness, 9Z are held back.
Gotta save.
They're trying to make a last-second rotation, possibly through market, but you've got to go like you're talking about, Vans. Otherwise, you're just forfeiting the round, and they're going to save? We're hitting the res to try to save this? Are we crazy? Envy's going to get to 12.
I respect it. You're rezzing to try to get econ value into the next round because your economy's in shambles right now for the side of 9Z. But man, what? Individual plays again coming out from Envy into the micro this time around to the post plant. The fact that you just have Poppin just spamming and spamming, hoping that he could bait out counter spams, counter shots out from the side of the defense. And when that happens, the flash comes out from Ion to delay him. Look at that. He breaks the recon, flash hits all three of them. That delays everything from 9Z to try to retake that site. Just because of how they've been fast on rotates, but not getting forward space. That's what I'm saying. When they're not able to find mid information for the side of 9Z, it kind of falls into shambles because you have good positioning for the side of Envy with these inserts. That's been a pain of their defense for 9Z.
Man, I don't know though. Those are 2 rounds. A 1v1 where you've got well, actually it's a 1v3, but a 1v1 with Nags and Inspire, that Nags has an op and says I'm going to save it when they've got essentially max credits anyways. And then right there, a 4v3, you die into a dark cover spam and then just give up on the play essentially. So Kane, how about this? The Owl drone that we've seen from Klaus comes through once again, but this would be a unique look. If Kane can clear this angle, how does Envy try to utilize this space?
Don't tell me he's going to walk through.
This
he
is
finds
bold.
his timing somehow with a backstab kill onto the Raze. Oh, Taco's going to be angry.
Yep, he's mad. So now you've got mid wide open. Defense trying to collect some space. Fast lane will keep the A defender at least somewhat busy. And actually the Paranoia gets baited by a decoy. Oh no, 9Z have fallen a bit apart. Poppin trying to use the Hunter's Fury over through market. Does not really do too much. And now you go back to Kane to see if you can use this as a pivot point.
30 seconds
Oh my gosh, and now you're counter flanking again on Boba.
Well, there's the kills for 9Z. Poppin still keeps the play alive, and Kane will connect. Klaus up top, denied as Kane connects once more. Just down to Delzy. He's going to find the first. 1v2 now. And this is the next difficult moment. Where is Envy? And he's got to go quickly. And now we're spending a lot of ammunition. Does he clear this corner behind the small box? He does. Finds the 1v1. Now with Poppin. Dark cover will block the angle. There's the toggle. Shock dart not going to land. Poppin has one more to spend. Does he get caught with the bow? No, it's a recon bolt first. Now you've got a shock dart, and that will be how Envy do it. What a comeback effort. It looked sloppy at the beginning. You take a timeout. You say, all right, let's just kick the brakes a little bit. And from that point, they get the car back into gear, and Envy 2-0 the opening match here at Ascension.
And what an awesome play on that 1v1 from Poppin to utilize his utility at best as a Silva to get information and to guarantee the kills. The recon outside of the smoke, it just comes to show how Envy, they're not flustered by the stage presence of 9Z. Again, decorated players on that side who are looking across the stage literally saying, how did we lose to a team of rankers? And Envy comes out not only prepared, but outskilled and outshot, especially on how they played their attack side. And they're definitely looking like the team to look out for right now in this Ascension. The team that might move up into the VCTs next year because they've proven a point. One, that they could still dominate, and two, this time around, that they could play the comeback and even shut down big leads from their opponents.
Yeah, man, I get it, and I know it's like, let's not jump the shark here. We've played one match of Swiss, but in terms of the expectations, the anticipations, you know, especially surrounding the categorical success and accolades that we've seen from Envy, whether they're Envy or Envy as they were rankers, will that show up on land? That was really the only question that people would have had for Envy, and I think we definitely got a pretty result answer, taking a very commanding win on 9Z's map pick to start, and then that small little comeback effort to really convincingly run away with map number 2 for a 2-0 victory. And that kicks off our Swiss stage completely, but we're not done. We still got the desk to recap everything. Plus, we still have another full match of Valorant coming up after this. So don't go far. We got the Valorant Ascension coming up behind this break.